So we all know Warhammer 40k is really complicated, like way more complicated than it has any need to be. But out of all the armies in the game, one of them has to be the most complicated, and in my opinion, that is Imperial Knights. Because Imperial Knights only play a couple models on the table, I think there's this conception that the faction is actually like kind of straightforward, but in the 9th edition codex, it's anything but the case. Whereas most armies have to worry about their faction ability and maybe a sub-faction ability, Imperial Knights go absolutely ham with the codex abilities they stack on top of their vehicles. Not only do you have 2 categories of faction, that gives you an additional ability which then gets added on top of your other sub-faction ability like you would get from any other army. Then on top of that, while you're constructing your list, you have to pick your chivalric oaths. Each of these has 4 separate rules attached to it based on when you gain honor points, lose honor points, the abilities that you get when you are both honored and virtuous, meaning that you have another 8 army rules to keep track of. And then on top of that, those knights get customized with exalted court abilities. These abilities often interact with bondsman abilities that the big knights can give to their armigers, which both impart a specific buff depending on the type of big knight that's granting them, but also a static defensive benefit to the armiger, so 2 more abilities to keep track of. This already sounds complicated, but if we use free blades, it gets even worse. For each free blade unit in your army, every single one of those gets a separate sub-faction ability that you have to keep track of independently. If you're playing the free blade lance army of renown, this is in addition to a consistent sub-faction ability that everyone in the army gets. Stack on top of that normal enhancements like relics and warlord traits, and that's why, despite their low model count, Imperial Knights are the most complicated army in Warhammer 40k.